It's recap time. 3, 2, 1. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Shower Podcast, the podcast where I'm in my shower and you do you. I'm your host, Chip, and this is not my usual intro. This is a bit of a special episode. Unfortunately, I will be away for a few days, and I found out this interesting way of filling the gaps with recaps from previous episodes. If this is your first time here, use it as an opportunity to find topics that you might be interested in and go back to listen to the original ones. If you are a usual listener of the Shower Podcast, well, again, this might be a rehearsal of topics that you might be interested in. Otherwise, I understand if you want to wait for me to be back. But in the meanwhile, the podcast needs to continue and we need to reach day 365. Having said that, I will not keep you longer. Thank you very much for listening. As always, a like and a subscribe. They are always welcome. And now, recap time.
Hello and welcome back to the Deep Dive, where we try to cut through the noise and bring you insights that really stick.
Hope so.
Today, we've got something a bit different, a really special mission for you, actually. We're diving into 3 recent episodes from a creator whose work we genuinely admire. That's Chip from the Shower Podcast.
Chip, yeah, good stuff.
Exactly. Now, if you're already familiar with Chip's, friendly conversational style and his knack for finding these surprisingly deep truths, you know what's coming.
We're in for a treat.
You really are. And if you haven't heard them yet, we definitely recommend checking out his original episodes. That's 229, 230, and 231 maybe after you listen to this. They just give so much context, and Chip's perspective is always worth hearing directly.
Indeed. And what's really illuminating about Chip's work across these three explorations is how he keeps challenging our defaults, our sort of automatic settings. Yeah. He really makes us look at some, ingrained assumptions. How we spend our time, how we find meaning, maybe most importantly, how we build resilience in a world that often pushes for this kind of rigid perfection.
Right.
And the thread linking it all, I think, is this powerful idea of choosing quality over just quantity in pretty much everything. It's subtle, but it's a big shift.
You've totally hit on the core challenge there, and that's exactly why our mission today is to pull out those key ideas, those moments that make you go, huh. And some of Chip's really great personal stories.
Those anecdotes are always gold.
They are. We're going to try and weave them together, make the connections clear so you walk away not just knowing stuff, but hopefully feeling a bit inspired to maybe look at your own life a little differently.
Sounds like a plan.
Okay, so let's unpack this, starting with episode 229, Quantity versus Quality, rethinking how you spend free time.
Okay.
So Chip kicks this off by questioning something we all think we know, our favorite hobbies. He makes this really compelling case that actually we often don't really understand what makes us happy. He shares his own thing, right? Saying if someone just looked at his time logs, how he spent most of his free time, they'd probably say his favorites were like binge watching YouTube, watching streams online, maybe playing video games, stuff he did as a kid. And I think, honestly, a lot of us can probably relate to that pattern.
Oh, absolutely. Time spent doesn't always equal enjoyment, does it?
Exactly. That's the trick, as he calls it. Internally, he knew those weren't his real favorites, even though they ate up most of his hours. He calls them occupying time activities. And the thing is, they're always there. Super convenient. Got half an hour. There's a video, 2 hours, a stream, a whole evening. Binge that series.
Always available.
Yeah. And that constant, easy availability, he points out, it can fool us. We think we love them most just because they're so easy to grab.
That is the insidious part, isn't it? It's a psychological trap he lays out so clearly. The sheer ease, the low barrier to entry for these, let's call them quantity-based activities.
Yeah.
It can make us almost demonize, or at least constantly push back the things that take more effort but might actually be way more fulfilling.
Like planning something.
Exactly. We use those easy excuses. Oh, I'm too tired, or my social battery's just dead. You know the ones.
I do.
And we use them to avoid the prep and the conscious choice needed for, say, going out for lunch or hiking, playing sports, even just going to the gym. These things need a decision, planning, getting ready.
Right, actual effort.
And often, that little bit of effort is enough to just bump them down the list, even if they'd give us that deeper satisfaction.
Yeah.
We end up deferring real joy.
It's so true. And here's that moment, that personal bit Chip shares, that I just found so relatable and kind of funny.
Oh, yeah.
When he finally, really sat down and thought about his true favorite activities, he realized it was any kind of racket sports, paddle, tennis, ping pong, just give me a racket. He said he'd be happy for years.
That's brilliant.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
It's such a great example of how what we do doesn't always match up with what genuinely brings us joy deep down. Really makes you stop and think.
It really does.
So, the challenge he throws out to you, the listener, is pretty direct. Next time someone asks about your favorite activity, or maybe you're just trying to figure out what to do tonight, don't just default to the easy thing, the quantity thing. Think about the quality. What really made you feel happy, feel fulfilled the last time you did it?
Yeah.
It's a great nudge towards looking inward, reassessing where you're putting your most valuable thing, your time.
Absolutely. Being more intentional with our energy. And, this whole idea of quality over quantity, it doesn't just stop at hobbies. It really shapes how we see and remember things, too, which is where Chip goes next.
Okay, so if being intentional about how we spend our time is crucial, Chip then pushes us further to think about something even more fundamental: how we perceive and remember our lives.
Right, the memory aspect.
This brings us to episode 230, The Brain is a Camera, How Photography Shapes Memory and Meaning. And here, he presents this really intriguing analogy. He actually claims photography is the closest thing we have to how our brain works.
Interesting claim.
Yeah. Now, he's quick to say his own start wasn't some, romantic movie moment, no dusty shoebox find.
Yeah.
It sort of just happened with the phone camera. He just started messing around, playing with it, and realized, hang on, I'm seeing things differently.
The shift in perception.
Exactly. So he got more into it, and just before COVID hit, he actually bought a proper camera, a Sony a6000 with a fixed lens, a 35mm, he mentions for the photo nerds listening.
Okay, the fixed lens is key.
It really is, because it wasn't about fancy tech. It was a choice that forced him to physically move, to get closer to what he wanted to capture.
Can't just zoom with your fingers.
Right. And his first big test was a trip to New York, a city he knew he'd been loads of times. But this time, with the camera, especially that fixed lens demanding he get right in there, the city just lit up differently.
How so?
Streets became stories. He started noticing tiny details. He'd always just walked past sunlight hitting a yellow taxi just so, steam puffing up from a manhole cover. He felt like he was living it, properly experiencing it, not just, passing through.
That's a huge shift from observer to participant almost.
Totally. And he realized photography wasn't just about the pictures anymore. It was about feeling the present more deeply. It was about slowing down in this world that just wants us to rush, rush, rush. And even though he comes from an engineering background, he found he had a vision. Not perfect, he says, but definitely his.
Finding his own eye.
Yeah. And what really hit him hard, what made it all feel really meaningful, wasn't people saying great shot, technically. It was when they said things like, wow, I love how you make me see this place.
That's different. That's about impact.
Exactly. That's what resonated.
Yeah, and Chip uses that camera idea brilliantly as a metaphor for how memory actually works, doesn't he? Our brain isn't like a video camera recording everything passively.
No continuous recording.
Not at all. It's more like an active editor taking snapshots, selected moments, imperfect ones. And crucially, it's not how many snapshots we have, but how we interpret them over time. That interpretation gives them meaning, and that meaning can even change.
So the memory evolves.
Precisely. Like a photo we look back on differently years later, that single chosen detail, like in a well-composed photo, can hold an entire feeling, an entire story. It's all about the depth, the quality of the snapshot, not the sheer number of them.
And this leads to another really powerful challenge from Chip, directly for you listening. Instead of trying to replay a whole day, a whole event in your head.
Which is impossible anyway.
Right. Try to just ping a single moment. Maybe it's tiny, the clink of your keys as you drop them, the patter of light through the blinds in the morning, maybe just the sound of someone's laugh.
Focus on one thing.
Yeah, he says just hold on to that one detail and see how much it tells you about the whole story without needing all the extra filler. It beautifully ties back to that idea. It's not the quantity of moments that makes life rich, it's the quality of the ones we choose to hold on to, and importantly, how we choose to frame them.
That mindful way of looking at memory and being present, it flows really nicely into his last deep dive, which is all about managing our daily lives, our routines, our expectations.
Right. So we've thought about being intentional with free time, with memories. Now Chip brings it all back home, maybe to the trickiest bit, our daily grind. How does this quality over quantity idea help us escape what he calls the trap of efficiency?
Yes, the efficiency trap.
That's what he tackles in episode 231, the one mindset shift that ends the trap of efficiency. He talks about that relentless chase for the perfect routine, and he gets it. He admits that optimization feels good, that buzz of control, thinking, Yes, I really nailed this when everything runs like clockwork.
It's addictive, that feeling.
Totally addictive. But here's the snag, the really insidious catch he points out. By definition, you can always be more efficient.
Always room for improvement, or so we tell ourselves.
Exactly. You can always study a bit faster, lift a bit heavier, make your meal prep cleaner. It creates this endless horizon of better, he calls it, where you never actually get to celebrate the progress you've made because there's always more tweaking to do.
He never arrives.
Never. Chip shares his own experience with this. Like, after a workout, instead of feeling good, he'd immediately be thinking how to shave off 2 minutes next time. Or after finishing a project, instead of pride, he'd just analyze what could have been faster or smarter. That constant optimization, he argues, it just steals the joy.
It really does. It turns achievement into just another data point for improvement.
Yeah. And then there's what he calls the lone wolf problem.
Okay.
This idea that perfect optimization only really works if you control everything, every single variable.
Which is
Exactly. Life just isn't like that, is it? It's messy. It's full of things you don't control. Getting sick, colleagues needing something, random delays, traffic jams, you name it.
dependencies everywhere.
Everywhere. And this makes a perfectly optimized system incredibly fragile. The moment one external thing doesn't cooperate, the whole perfect machine grinds to a halt. And you don't just lose time, you feel like you've failed, personally.
Which is rough.
So this raises that critical question. If chasing perfection makes us fragile, what's the alternative? How do we cope? And Chip's key insight, his big mindset shift, is that we need to accept failure in planning just as readily as we accept, failure in execution. Life will mess up your plans, that's guaranteed. Expecting the plan itself to be perfect and unshakable, that's the mistake.
So the plan breaking isn't your failure.
Exactly. It just means you're human and life is, it's unpredictable. Real strength comes from knowing that and being able to adapt.
And he doesn't just leave it there. He gives two really practical ways to build that resilience. And they're quite unexpected. Okay, I'm listening.
First, he says, always leave a buffer. Don't pack your schedule tight, edge to edge. Leave gaps. Leave space for the unexpected, for rest, just for life to happen. That buffer, he insists, isn't wasted time. It's the shock absorber. It's the strength that keeps everything else from collapsing when something inevitably goes sideways.
Build in slack. Makes sense.
It does. And the second one, this is the one I find kind of brilliant, almost funny in how counterintuitive it is. His second solution is train imperfection.
Train. Imperfection. How do you do that?
Deliberately, on purpose. Break your own perfect cycle sometimes. Take the scenic route home instead of the fastest one. Let yourself skip setting a timer for something. Maybe indulge in something slightly inefficient just because you feel like it.
Huh. Like intentionally messing up your own system a little bit.
Kind of. I can just picture myself taking the long route deliberately, feeling slightly rebellious. But the point, he says, is to prepare your brain for chaos.
Ah, okay. Exposure therapy for inefficiency.
Basically. If the only time you ever face things going wrong is when life forces it on you unexpectedly, you'll likely panic. But if you've practiced letting go, if you've intentionally introduced small wobbles into your system, you'll adapt much faster and stay calmer when the big curveballs hit.
That makes a lot of sense, actually. Real strength, as Chip is arguing here, isn't about having the most flawless, rigid system. It's not about perfect execution every single time.
No.
It's about flexibility. It's about being able to bend without breaking. Growth doesn't come from avoiding mistakes. It comes from how you recover, how you adjust after things go off track. Those messy, imperfect days where you have to pivot, those are the days that actually build genuine resilience. They make you robust.
So true. So the final challenge Chip leaves you, the listener, with is this. Where in your life are you running things so incredibly tightly that just one small thing going wrong could bring the whole structure down?
Good question to ask yourself.
Definitely. And then how can you deliberately, consciously practice a little bit of imperfection? How can you train for the unexpected so that when life inevitably delivers it, you're ready to adapt rather than feeling completely derailed?
That's a profound thought.
It really ties it all together, doesn't it?
Right.
Chip's deep dives, starting from how we pick our hobbies, going through how we capture and value memories, right up to how we structure our days. They all gently, consistently push us towards a more, conscious, qualitative way of living.
Yeah.
It's about finding what really brings joy, appreciating moments for their depth, not just their duration, and building a resilience that's flexible and adaptable, ready for whatever comes next.
Exactly. It's a shift from chasing this rigid, often illusory, quantity-based ideal to embracing a more intentional, quality-driven life? And maybe here's a final thought for you to chew on. How might deliberately choosing quality over quantity and truly embracing imperfection, not as failure, but as a kind of strength, how might that actually transform not just how you spend your days, but how you experience and remember your entire life? Could it make it richer, more meaningful, and ultimately more robust?
Wow. What a question to end on. Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive into Chip's really insightful work. We really appreciate him putting these ideas out there.
Absolutely. It's valuable stuff to reflect on if you're aiming for a life that feels more intentional and ultimately more fulfilling.
Thank you very much for listening.
Thank you.
See you tomorrow.